What's up, guys?
Underworld Ministry. How y'all doing? Thank you for coming back again.
We got a new background.
We got a background.
Got it.
How do you guys like it? We love it.
Hi.
So, we have a very special episode for you guys this
One that
week.
we're excited about.
Hey, Amber. How you doing?
Thanks for joining us.
So, as you can tell from the title, A Tale of Pennhurst State School and Hospital. It's in Spring City, Pennsylvania, opened in 1908, closed in 1987. It is pretty much the worst state school in the world.
It's known as the stain of Pennsylvania.
The shame of
The
Pennsylvania.
shame of Pennsylvania. That's right.
So, this was a hospital for the feeble-minded and the mentally challenged. It was supposed to be help. And unfortunately, they didn't get that much help just from understaffing, overcrowding. We actually have a video for you to watch that'll explain it a little more for you.
Some trigger warnings, just in case you're not comfortable with everything that's coming up that has to do with like mental health and abuse and trauma. Just letting you know.
Viewers' discretion advised on this episode. I definitely have to say that.
It's a little hard. Choke you up a little.
Right.
One of the sights and sounds of Pennhurst, the state institution for the mentally retarded. It's located in Spring City, Chester County. In 1908, when the institution first opened, the man in charge bitterly complained to the state that the conditions were already overcrowded. He transferred many of the patients to Q1, a classroom building. Many of them are still there. In the 18th century, the mentally retarded were often ignored, punished, and exploited. Today, things are supposed to be different. Modern 20th century man is much more scientific and civilized. Today, we no longer punish the mentally retarded. We don't exploit them either. We have come a long, long way. Now, we ship them 25 miles out of town to a state-operated institution and forget them while they decay from neglect.
While some children are afforded the opportunity to go on a picnic and bask in the sun, others lie awake in their beds, shackled like prisoners, punished because they cannot control themselves and their illness.
How else do you deal with patients that are hyperactive?
I have given some of them intravenous pentobarbital sodium on occasion. Otherwise, they would do harm to themselves and others.
In other words, you drug them.
Absolutely.
It's just heartbreaking how they were treated.
The conditions at Pennhurst have been withering for quite a while because of the lack of public interest. The institution is a monument to apathy and will remain that way until change can be brought about by concerned action. This social indifference stresses the hangover of 19th century philosophy, which condemns the mentally retarded to a bare existence in facilities like Pennhurst. These children can be helped, and they are depending on society to care enough about them. The retarded have been ignored, forgotten, and pushed out of our minds much too long. In some cases, their feeling of being abandoned has stunned their progress. Others have just become more bitter.
It's not right. We just can't look ourselves in the mirror when you know what goes on in some of these institutions. It's shameful, because this rich country, this great country, can afford to take care of the least of these.
The sickening and almost unviewable conditions of the institution is largely due to overcrowding and the lack of personnel to provide elementary care. In many cases, children churn in their own filth for only one reason: lack of assistance. The ones that speak detest the inhumane conditions and hunger for the slightest sign of affection. Suffer children to come to me, and forbid them not, for of such is the kingdom of God.
Who's ready to hatch some?
So
Sorry about a little bit.
that's a little video of Pennhurst State School, other than the little cartoon.
Yeah, excuse that.
So, in the comments, does anybody know the story of Pennhurst? Have anybody been to Pennhurst before?
I want to go.
I have,
And our guest has.
and our guest. Her name is Kandise from Keeping It Real, Pennsylvania. She's actually investigated this about six times. We have evidence. We have pictures. We have videos. Let's bring Kandise on to have a conversation with her.
Hi, Kandise.
Hi guys,
Hey,
Thanks for
how
your
you
time.
doing?
doing good.
Awesome. Thank you for coming. What
No
do you
problem.
think of the video?
I'm sorry.
What did you think of the video that we
Oh,
just?
that was a great video. I recognize a lot of the buildings.
Yeah,
Look a little different now, but
yeah. It's really run down. The last time that I went, like maybe 3 or 4 buildings you could still go into. Other than that, the
they're
rest
ac-
of the buildings.
yeah, they're actually working on restoring a lot of the areas that were run down and stuff. So they are working on getting it back.
Right.
Very nice.
So when I talk about that, it was a state school and a hospital. It was huge. They had their own
Little
grocery
campus.
store. They had their own little town. There was what, like 14, 15 buildings on the campus?
Altogether, yes.
Yeah. This is the whole campus of Pennhurst, while fully built, fully functioning. Like, I don't know about you. I know when I was driving there, it just, like, I don't know if it was the feeling of going to Pennhurst or, like, soon as you get on that property, you're just full eyes on you. Like, you're just heavy the whole time. I don't.
Newer.
Definitely. You got to think about how much, torment, how much sorrow
Oh, absolutely.
within that building, and that kind of stuff stays.
Yeah.
It seeps into the building itself. It becomes part of the building in itself. So I think everybody kind of gets that feeling when they drive onto the property and see it, especially when they see it for the first time,
Yeah.
because then it becomes real.
Right. Yeah, I went on it and I was like, we got there and I was just like, I didn't even know like what to do, or like, I know a little bit about Pennhurst, but I had no idea it was a school too. So it started out as a school. It was only supposed to be 500 patients when it first opened in 1908. The first patient was December 9th of 1908. And like 4 years later, it was so overcrowded it had up to thousands of people in there. They would drop people off, or people that just couldn't be handled. Unfortunately, I have ADD. I have learning disabilities. Unfortunately, Sarah has it too. So we would both be in there if it was around the same.
So would my brothers.
Like we would be in there, and like we're normal having a conversation with you guys right now, and unfortunately, kids would get dropped off at this place and just left
By their parents.
like. So when I asked you to be a guest and you told me that you investigated 6 times, I was like, yes, I want to know your stories. So tell me a little bit about you. Tell me about where you're from, a little background about yourself.
Well, I'm 38 years old. I've been a paranormal investigator for 20 years since I was about 18.
Wow.
So there hasn't been a lot of places I haven't investigated. I'm kind of from everywhere. I'm a military brat, so not really one place in particular.
Right, travel a lot.
Yeah, we just moved to Texas from Pennsylvania, so I'm starting the Keeping It Real chapter down here.
Awesome. Now you guys, your team that was in Pennsylvania just did an investigation at Pennhurst a couple days ago.
Yes.
So how is that? I know you weren't there. We had communication problems, but
yeah, they had a great time. I got to tell you, Rick Shurock, who is the founder of the group, I was talking to him the next day, and he's all, "I've never had a feeling like I did in the basement of one of these buildings, Kandise. It felt like pure evil."
Yeah.
To the point where they might have hustled out of there pretty quickly.
Wow. Yeah, it takes a lot for me to budge, but yeah, you're thinking like, was it down with Kane?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Yep. That's the story. Yeah.
Yeah. So they have a ghost down in the basement called Kane. He was a maintenance man, and he died. And he doesn't like people in his basement.
With his space.
Yeah, pretty much. So this is like, I'm just imagine like going to this campus, getting out and walking to these front doors, knowing that your parents or your relatives or anything promise they're going to come back, and they just never do. And they would just leave them there, you know. What do you think about just the kids? And because there was mostly kids that were in these buildings, correct?
Yeah, and I don't know if you know, there's a picture on the internet. I'm sure if you were so inclined, you could Google it. But in one of the rooms, they had rows and rows of cribs. Rows, like probably 50 to 60 cribs in one big room. And they had kids as old as 12. And they would be in there all day, all night.
Really?
Yep, there you go. And it's just, you got to think about what that would be like just to have to be in there, because you couldn't, you didn't have the necessity of people helping you.
Right. And they did a story. I'm not exactly sure. I tried to look it up and I couldn't find information about it. How the news station got a hold of what was going on in Pennhurst, and they did a 4-part news station, like a news story on Pennhurst. It's called Suffer the Little Children.
I actually watched it.
And that's pretty much what got Pennhurst shut down.
Yeah.
Like malnutrition, so overcrowded that people would just be completely naked in their feces.
They had at one point they had a tuberculosis outbreak, and it caused a lot of deaths on the property, a lot.
Well, you got to think even that, like the tuberculosis kills, they would be so overcrowded, like they would take people out of prisons and put them into Pennhurst with mentally challenged people with serious conviction, murderers, like crazy people, and they would put them in the same room just to see what happens.
Yeah.
Like that's just, I can't even imagine, like being autistic or being, mentally challenged, like just how scared they were. Put in with somebody so evil that you can kill somebody, then you're gonna take this innocent person and just throw them in the room. It's basically throwing yourself into the tiger's bin. It's just, it's crazy. So when is the last time that you yourself investigated Pennhurst?
I was there a year and a half ago, right before I moved to Texas.
Okay. All right. Now, anybody that wants to know how to get into investigating Pennhurst, what was kind of the steps that you have to take to set up an investigation?
Well, it starts with I did a public investigation first, one of the ones on Halloween that you just kind of went through and stuff like that. And from there, I got to know some of the tour guides. There was one at the time, Judy Love. She was a really good, and she got my husband in there and stuff like that. And me and my husband both investigated. My husband, who is a rather large man and very analytical, got touched on the elbow there so bad he couldn't use his elbow for a week after we left.
Wow. Did they get hit in the elbow, or is it just something?
He said he got grabbed, like someone grabbed, he felt the hand like on his elbow, and it didn't like hurt at the time, but afterwards, like he started complaining about it that night, and then he couldn't extend his elbow for, like I said, 3 weeks afterwards.
Wow.
And this is a man that does not believe in the paranormal very lightly,
Right.
but it shook him.
Well, from what I was told, if you want to find paranormal and you want to find a ghost, go to Pennhurst.
Yes,
Like,
very much so.
You're pretty much not. I can't always say nothing's guaranteed to find anything in the paranormal world. Let me say that first. But you have very good luck finding a paranormal. I know we showed a little video and we showed a little bit of campus. I want to show some of the buildings. So this is a Mayflower Hall. Is this one of the buildings that you can go and investigate?
Yes.
Okay. So did anything happen in this building that you like to share, or?
In that building, you get a lot of voices, whispers and stuff like that. You get like rocks kind of thrown at you, not hard. They're not trying to like hurt you with it, but trying to get your attention. I've never gotten in the main part of Mayflower. I've never gotten like where I felt scared or threatened by anything.
Now, was that more of like a dorm? Like,
yeah.
The patients slept and had their rooms. Okay. So we have the Philadelphia. I don't think this is one of the buildings that you can go in.
No.
I remember. Like a lot, probably we say about 80% of the property you can't go into.
Yeah, and a lot of it they use to store their, attractions, because they do turn a building into a haunted house every year.
Like an actual building.
Yeah, so they use a lot of those buildings as like storage and stuff like that. So, and they're mainly like out of the way. Nothing was really used. There were dorms, sleeping areas, stuff like that.
I feel like that would be even more activity, being somewhere that they're comfortable being in. That's their room. That's probably where they spend a lot of time.
Yeah.
Not a lot of the people were high functioning there. Like a lot of people were just tied to a bed and left there. And there was, the whole campus had their own butcher shop, their own convenience store, they made everything that they needed. They made their own beds, made their own shoes.
They had their own currency.
They did have their own currency.
We actually have a picture of it. So
we will get to that. But this is the main administration building. Like I couldn't even imagine going somewhere and just seeing this building and they're like, see ya. I'm like, oh, now me, I'll be like, okay, see ya. Bye.
How can I?
Pick me up tomorrow. But like, I don't like what would you do in that situation? Like, you just
Kind of shut down. That's, I mean, you got to think about it. That's the end. So you'd shut down completely. Like, what hope would you have at that point?
none. At least I wouldn't. I don't.
No.
Yeah. You see your family drive off. I mean, that was your last hope.
Yeah, I'd be absolutely crushed. Well, like I would still have it in my mind for a couple hours. Like, okay, well they're coming back, so this isn't really that bad, And then like later that night or the next day, I'd be like, all right, what's going on? Why am I stuck here?
I'd end up being one of the ones with my teeth ripped out because I bite people.
She does bite people. So this is just, I'm not exactly sure what building. This just looks like more dorms. And I just tried to get a couple pictures just to show you the buildings and everything for the viewers that are watching right now.
Yeah, I looked. I don't have a single one taken in the daytimes.
Yeah, we got to, I know a buddy that worked there for the haunt, and we walked around during the day, and we took all of these. There is a couple of them that I got off of Google and everything, and their Facebook page, just for people can see. We do have a comment.
Hi, Bonnie.
Hi, Bonnie. Thank you for watching. Oh, where was that?
Right there.
That's one of my favorite pictures. That was my background on my computer for a really long time. So we can get to Quaker Hall. Now,
That's a good one.
Is this the one that they basically made it into a museum?
Yeah. They restored it a little bit and stuff, and they closed it down so they could properly restore it. So a lot of people didn't get to see that in the past year or so, 2 years, I'd say.
Right.
But they've been, like I said, restoring a lot of those buildings. So some of them are open now that I've never even been to.
Well, yeah, we went there. I went there twice, and it was during the haunt. So we got to go through the haunt and go through the underground tunnels and everything, and we walk through the little museum area, which is.
I would love to go.
Oh, that's quicker. Which is the Mayflower Hall. Which that's the one that they turn into a museum. Now, when you do an investigation, do you get to pick what buildings you get to go to that's still available, or do they tell you what buildings that you're allowed to be in and areas?
Well, that really depends on which kind of tour you do. If you do a public tour, they lead you around, they show you and tell you their own experiences and stuff like that. But if you do a private tour, then you kind of get, like, the tour guide goes with you and you get to dictate where you get to go, So if you have the money for it, I highly suggest private tours. Ask for Rachel Moser. She's probably the most knowledgeable person I know as far as Pennhurst.
Right. Now, she's on your team, correct?
Yes.
Awesome. Yeah, that's definitely an advantage for you guys.
Yeah, she works there. She loves it. She absolutely loves her job. So
I would be happy if my job was Pennhurst every day, for sure. Like, so this is after that it closed, and it's just basically deteriorating, unfortunately. I wanted to get a couple pictures of it inside. So, like, just imagine this, just mold on the wall, feces, water, bugs. Like, it was like literally like I'm trying to like paint a picture for everybody how horrible that it had. At least 1,000 patients to one nurse. Like, it was just the same patients got the same medicine and the same spoon thousands of times. Like, it was so bad that the Philadelphia Zoo animals ate better than the patients at Pennhurst, which that's just insane to me. But if you got caught biting the first time, they would punish you and strap you in a chair, and you wouldn't be able to move for a couple days. And then the second time that you bit, they would just rip all your teeth out.
Mm-hmm.
And unfortunately, the nurses that were interviewed and everything, and like even to this day, you can still walk around and find teeth on the floor from patients. Which I don't know. Once they do all the cleanup and everything, all the dirt and everything's gone.
They might actually put it in the museum to display them.
Right.
Well, I definitely did not look for teeth while I was there.
Just look on the ground. Oh, souvenir.
Yeah. So this is just another part of. I'm sure that's what I want to know. Like, they show pictures like this of how deteriorated the walls are, the paint's chipping. Was it actually like that when the patients were there too, or
Not to the extent that it is today.
Okay.
Today you got to think it's been what,
well
40
since
years.
7? Yeah.
So they're trying, like I said, they're trying to keep up with it, but unfortunately, it's a large
Very,
compound. It's in the middle of the woods in Pennsylvania. It has some harsh winters,
yeah.
which are never good for old buildings like that.
No. And like some of the buildings don't even have roofs anymore because they've caved in.
Yes.
Right. And when you go through the museum area, you can walk around the building. But when you first walk in, you walk in to the right. It literally has patients' belongings and stuff that they used while Pennhurst was open. So I took a couple. These are my own personal pictures. So this is a pamphlet, a report pamphlet from the actual Pennhurst. And then this was some of the objects that they've taken out of. I couldn't find the other picture. I have a picture of one of the patients. It's the whole bed. It's a nightstand. Like, it was literally her whole bedroom in the corner. I was trying to find a picture of it, but I couldn't. Now, when you do investigations, do you guys do solos? Do you guys do groups, or kind of spread out and do your own things? Or
We kind of like to stick to a group, but that's not to say we haven't, branched off and done our own thing, like here and there. We usually try to do the Estes experiment a lot, so that requires someone to be kind of isolated a little bit. So,
right. Yeah, I was talking to her about going to a cemetery and doing the Estes method with walkie-talkies.
We did it.
Like, just leaving the whole area and doing the walkie-talkie. Do you feel like, have you ever done that at Pennhurst, the walkie-talkie experiment?
no, we try not to have any kind of, like, we put our phones in airplane mode and try to keep the electronics to a minimum so it don't interfere with the other equipment. But walkie-talkies are a good idea. We should actually implement that. That'd probably be a cool little experiment.
Yeah. So what I like to do, I like to set up the voice recorder and just set a camera up to the walkie, and it radiates the whole building while you're outside just speaking and asking questions. I've done it on a couple investigations, and it's worked pretty good.
I've seen it done at the Conjuring House, so I know what you're talking about, but I hadn't thought to do it at Pennhurst yet.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like just because they were feeble-minded, like I feel like if you don't have 10 people in the room, they'd be more open to talking,
Yeah.
But yeah, so when these little dorms, they were so when they first opened, they had enough rooms for 500 people. 4 years later, they had thousands. And like, I know we just showed this picture, but I want to show it again just for show viewers. Like, this is how the people like lived every day. They would be grown people or teenagers or kids that would be stuck to these bed crib like things and tied to the beds, weren't able to walk, weren't able to feed themselves. Like, I can't imagine the torture and like what they were going through. You know, if you lay in a bed so long, you end up getting bed sores. You imagine just years and years and years of laying in there, how bad it was. I know when the reporter came on for Stuff for My Little Children, he did a little interview before. He said he walked in and he almost threw up for how bad it smelled and how bad it was filthy. And like people were just walking around completely naked and just, they had 2 nurses to 1,000 people. I couldn't, like, that's just not help. That's not the way that you can help the feeble-minded or the mentally challenged now. I don't want to say it wrong. But when we have a couple of things that I asked you to bring, we asked you to bring 3 pieces of equipment that you like to use during investigations. Maybe you've used them here at Pennhurst while you're doing it. What is the 3 pieces of paranormal investigation you like?
Well, first of all, I can't talk highly enough. This is my FLIR camera. That's my digital, my heat signature. It's plugs right into my phone or my tablet, whatever I choose to use, and instantly turns it into a thermal reader.
Wow.
In a place like Pennhurst, this is an awesome piece to have in your arsenal.
Yeah.
It's so cold. Well, if you're doing it in the winter like I normally do, it's cold, so you get, good heat readings.
And that's a good report of, they do have a lot of shadow people in Pennhurst. So that's a really cool piece of equipment. Do you have a couple more, or?
Yeah, I also have, this is the newest piece of equipment. I try to look up the name of it, but I can't pronounce it, so I'll just show the box.
Skyer.
Yeah, so, and it's Dark Shadows is the name of the store on Etsy. It's a UK-based business, but it is a air pressure sensor. Unfortunately, I take the batteries out when I travel, and I just got back from an investigation where I was on an airplane, so it doesn't work.
Right.
But you turn it on, and you let it sit for about 10 minutes, and it starts to read the air pressure in the room. And when there's a fluctuation, it has an alarm and a light that lets you know, and there's 3 different levels, kind of like a K2 where it's, red, green, yellow kind of thing.
Right.
And it's been in every case that when this thing goes off, look around because something else is about to happen.
Right.
It reads the drop in the air pressure, and it's an actual really good scientific piece of equipment that we can use to start pinpointing when paranormal activity is about to happen.
When the energy changes.
Yeah. I also run things like humidity sensors and stuff like that because I'm working on research on how, atmospheric changes during paranormal activity. So this is really a great piece. I recommend it to any ghost hunter. It's about $70 and then or $100 and then about $80 for shipping.
That's not
but it's coming from the UK.
Yeah. So when you say that you're doing research, how long have you been doing the research on that?
I've been doing atmospheric readings and paranormal investigations for about 7 years now.
Okay.
I don't really get on YouTube or anything like that, but if anybody ever asks, I'm here to tell them about it and stuff. It's a really fascinating way of looking at the paranormal.
Right. Now, did you use that piece of equipment at Pennhurst?
No, that is actually a new piece of equipment. I used it at the Conjuring House, and I used it at a few investigations here in Texas, and it works so well. And it just basically tells you when you need to be on the look.
Right.
Yeah.
Be alert.
Yep.
Awesome. Now, speaking of activity that you've gotten, I'll show the picture that you sent me. So was this like you guys going to building through the walkways and you just snapping pictures, or?
She took a picture of down the catwalk where the top of the building, you're walking on the top of the catacombs underneath.
Right.
And in the picture, you can see a full body apparition right in the middle of it. Someone walking back at her.
Wow.
So.
No, yeah, I can see that. It's right in between the two lights.
Yep. And you can see it's plain as day a person walking, and no one was up there. That was no one at all.
Wow. That's crazy. So do you guys go through and just take millions of pictures, or do you use video cameras? Like what's your go-to? Do you guys use GoPros or?
No, we're not. We've never really focused too much on recording. I want to get more into that because you never know what you're going to catch when you leave something recording,
Right.
the whole time.
Right.
But mainly, if we are going to record it, we're going to record an EVP session. We're going to record one of our experiments.
Right.
Otherwise, we kind of got to pay attention to the actual
atmosphere.
Yeah.
Right. Now, do you guys going from location to location, do you guys set up while you're there and just tear down and then go back to a different area, or?
We kind of pack everything on us. Rick has the XLS, so that's probably the hardest thing to pack up and stuff like that. So
awesome. So these are some of the pictures that I took the last time that I was at Pennhurst. There's a couple pictures on there that I'd like to get your intake on, just being a fellow investigator. So this is in complete darkness, just a flash, and it's just creepy. It was the most wonderful building that I've ever been in. Like, it literally looked like a horror movie. So we went towards the bathroom, and like right where you see the 7X and the light on the wall, that's my flash. So there's really nothing that I can see these two orbs. Like, I wouldn't say that they're lens flares or dust, or because they have, other than the one on the wall next to the 7, like that's more see-through. But the one on the right, that's more like a dominant, not hollow, not see-through. What do you think on that?
I gotta say, I've never been a big orb fan. There are other pieces of evidence I like more.
Right.
But it's in a building like that, it's so hard to tell you, yes, it's definitely paranormal, because it is dusty. It is an old building. You don't know. It has broken windows everywhere. There are bugs flying around.
Yeah.
So even if you got a perfectly round orb, you're going to have somebody out there being like, that's a bug.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
No, I get that.
So, though I think it is interesting, I think it's too easily for people to dismiss.
Right.
And I think you should go back and take more pictures.
No, why not? I plan on it for sure.
Yeah, that's my giving you an excuse to go back. I need more pictures. I just said so.
I do have a couple more pictures to show you. So there's just a line, just a white streak in between the cabinet and going towards all the objects. Now, do you guys see that a lot when you guys investigate, or?
We do get pictures like that. But like I said, we try not, those, too many people argue with them so easily that it's just not something that we really pay attention to, though we have some up on our site too, like that, just like that from Pennhurst.
Yeah.
So if it is something paranormal, it's something that is common to catch.
Right. Yeah, they, like, you could see the whole cabinet and everything. Like, the whole cabinet turns white. Like, I don't know. I just thought it was a couple cool pictures that I caught.
Yeah, definitely.
And then this one, like, that's hard to argue.
Yeah.
Because either the light, like you can see where the reflection of the light is on the ball on the floor. Like that'd be no way to get a reflection to go up and over a bed.
Yeah,
The
yeah.
reflection would come back towards you if it was going off the wall. And like even in the window in between the curtains, you could see the flash. But
And it does look like a we call it energy
yeah,
shot. You're catching what looks like energy moving through the room.
right.
Which is, paranormal activity, of course. So
Absolutely. Which I thought it was pretty cool. That was just me walking through with my phone, just snapping pictures.
yeah.
So I don't have any cool evidence yet because unfortunately I have not ever investigated Pennhurst yet. We had just gone there for, that's a big word, yet. But like Sarah said before, the high functioning people that were in this school, they had their own currency in the property. That when the high functioning people or the people that had the jobs making the products, they gave them basically play money. And they could go to the convenience store, they can go buy whatever they wanted. And I was there talking to one of the old employees that worked at Pennhurst. And we sat there for a good hour talking just about Pennhurst and how it was. And she gifted me one of the dollars that they used to give me to the patients.
That is really cool.
And she said not a lot of people have these. I don't know if she said that just to make me happy or because technically it's a piece of paper. But
well, let me tell you, I've never seen one, so that's the first time I've gotten to see one. So that's pretty cool.
Which I took better pictures of it, and I'll put it up here if people want to see the actual, other than me shaking hands. But yeah, she's like, I got something for you. This is my last one, and I like just you sitting here talking to me and like actually curious about what happened. Yeah, I want you to have this, which I thought was really cool. I was like, absolutely, I'll take it. But we have a couple videos that you sent us. Now the first one that we're gonna play, it's in a we're not allowed to tell you where it is.
It is in Pennhurst.
It is in Pennhurst. Oh, we actually have a couple. Spooky. Welcome to Underworld Ministry. Everything's spooky. You can see the orb for the second really clear, and it has a trail behind it. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Which, like, my studies and me being an investigator, like, I don't really believe in orbs either. Like, I feel like that's more like a residual haunt. Like, it's just energy floating in the air.
To me, it's all about how they move.
That too, like how dominant. Like, if you see, like I don't know if you've ever watched the DVR, just sat there and watched. You can see how the wings move in a bug. Like, you can clearly tell that's an animal. But when you see a glowing ball just going down the hall and turns around and goes back down. Yeah. Or my favorite, I don't believe in orbs really. I believe more in blue ribbons. Like, is there a blue ribbon's just a trail of light that's blue?
Yeah.
Not at Pennhurst? Is that a thing there, or?
I've seen some things like that from other people's evidence. I haven't personally caught it yet, but I have seen other investigators. They've caught things like that.
Got you. What is your most dominant oh my god story while you're investigating Pennhurst before we get into the videos?
Me and my daughter, we were in the basement of Mayflower. Okay. And it was me, her, and another investigator, and it was the end of the night. We were wrapping up a public tour, and we were sitting there. I don't know if you're familiar. In the basement, there's a hospital bed with a bunch of toys on it. Like people leave the toys for.
Yeah.
But we were standing there doing Ghost Box, and all of a sudden things started flying around that room, and we heard a large growl. Like, when I say things started flying in the room, I mean wood like launched itself off the floor, rocks were being thrown. It was almost like the inside of the room got hit with a mini tornado all at once.
Wow.
And let me tell you, we have never flew upstairs so quickly.
Now, do you guys, like, I know you guys say you do a group and everything. What is your most, I just want to know personally, this is for my sake, what's your most prominent story in the tunnels? Because I've heard a lot of stories happen in the tunnels.
I was sitting down there, and you know the metal door that's down there that Skippy is supposed to be the one that haunts it down there? I was leaning against that door because I thought I'd be, brave. And we're just sitting there, and about 10 minutes had passed, and all of a sudden the door, bam, 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 right behind me. Nope, it's locked out. No one can get in there. And it's so dark down there, you can't run.
Right.
So we just kind of, all right, that got the heart pumping. And it doesn't feel good down there. It feels like, have you ever walked up the stairs and felt like someone was chasing you, so you ran up a little bit quicker?
Yeah.
That's how you feel walking in those tunnels, like somebody's right there behind you with their face right there.
That I feel like that was my second house in Pennsylvania every day. But yeah, like I said, we went. The only time that we always down in the tunnels was walking through the attraction. So it was like an old cave, and like vampires and werewolves and everything were down there. So I didn't get to walk through like the actual tunnels yet.
Well, when you get to, just mark my words, don't run, because you'll walk yourself right into a wall. Trust me.
Oh, that would be my luck too.
And don't lean against the walls. There are a few of our 8-legged friends that like to hang out on them. That's also some advice.
Yeah. Noted.
Like, I have really long hair they like to hide in. So.
Right. So this is an area that we're not allowed to tell where it is, but this is a video. Enjoy.
Did you work in this room? Or did you come in here to get your hair cut? Well, at least touch that ball down there. It's her 50th birthday. You have to show us something.
Yeah, can you say happy birthday?
Would that be nice?
You can say it into my little device that I'm holding. You can touch the rope like you did earlier, and that's how you can say happy birthday.
You can pull my hair. That would be cool.
Thank you so much. That was awesome.
That was very cool.
Now, so is this, I'm not very familiar with this. Is this like a rope that's got like sensor balls on it, or?
Yeah, it's a sensor rope you can get from any kind of paranormal shop. But it's just like a REM pod almost, only you touch it, it lights up and stuff like that. The only way it lights up is to be touched.
Wow.
So
cat ball.
Kind of like, jump rope cat ball.
Wow, that's cool. All right. So you sent me another one. Where is this second video?
So the first one, I got to correct you. The first one was in Mayflower.
Mm-hmm.
The second one is where I can't disclose.
Oh, okay. Well, viewers, the first one, that was in Mayflower.
Yes, that was the Mayflower.
Back it up a little bit. This one, we're not allowed to tell you where it is, but enjoy.
Are you happy we're here? Oh, you are?
Yeah.
It just touched my neck. It just took its hand across the back of my neck.
Ah, universal experiences. It happened to me the first time I was here. You okay?
Sure, we'll call it that.
Yeah, we'll call it that.
Yeah.
So
Sure, we'll call it that.
I know you're not allowed to tell us where it is or anything. Can you explain that? What was going on?
They were doing experiments down there, and just basically getting a lot of activity. Through that night, they also had growling and stuff. Unfortunately, I couldn't get the file to download of that, but that would have been really nice. They did get growling down there too.
It's always a little convenient when the paranormal evidence doesn't want to load.
I know, right? It drives me
everything else
crazy.
will load on my stuff, but not the evidence.
We did an investigation with one of her clocks, her grandmother's clocks. And we did it live, we did everything, but I had a camera filming to edit and make a little video of it. And none of the videos played at all. Wouldn't load, wouldn't do anything.
We still aren't able to load up the one from our first investigation together
Yeah.
of the historic village, because
So-
everything we caught was activity.
Yeah.
It was all evidence. Like everything that we experienced was evidence, and none of it wants to load.
Right. So before we play these other two videos, I wanted to ask you more about your team.
Yeah.
So how many team members do you have in your group?
I think we have a total of 7 members.
Okay. Now,
we have people that like Rachel, who is the tour guide at Pennhurst. Rick Shurock, he's also a tour guide at the Farnsworth House in Gettysburg. So every weekend he does ghost tours there. And if you ever get out to Gettysburg, that is a phenomenal place to investigate too.
It's Gettysburg, yeah.
Yeah.
It's pretty awesome.
And then we have, a couple other of our investigators traveled to different paracons and stuff like that, getting to meet, really cool people, seeing really great places.
Now you said Paracon. The last year was at Pennhurst.
Yes, they just did Rachel and all them were there at the Paracon that was just there.
Did you get to go to that?
No, it was about 2 weeks prior to that we investigated the Conjuring House.
Okay.
So I flew up there for that, and that was my money for trying to fly out there twice.
we understand, definitely.
Yeah.
So we have one more video or 2 more videos, but this video coming up right now, I have to warn everybody, there is foul language in this. If any kids are watching or anybody's watching, do you want to explain this a little bit before we play the video, or?
This is a video shot by my friend Judy Love. She's investigated with the team, but she does her own thing. But she used to be a tour guide there too, and she's just trying to communicate. I can't remember who she said she was trying to communicate with. I think it was the doctor there.
Okay.
And she was having some good responses with the cat ball.
Awesome. So we can play it. Remember, viewer discretion advised. I just have to say that before we play
Just to make sure.
Hello.
Search button.
Hi. Who's this? Can you tell me your name? No. No, he said Judy's a bitch.
I am not a bitch.
That's
Swear, guys.
mean.
Why would you think I'm a bitch?
Now,
That's funny.
See, I got that one and the other one confused. That's the one where Judy city has a habit of, I guess, I don't know, annoying some of these spirits, because that's not the first time one has called her that.
Yeah. Now, do you get that a lot while during
Yeah, you do. You get, especially during like the Estes. That was Phasma right there, the Phasma box.
Yeah,
And you could hear the responses. She was getting intelligent responses,
absolutely.
and a male just happened to use some choice words, not gentlemanly words,
Right.
which kind of rings into the whole they brought prisoners there and stuff like that. So
Right. Now, this next video is awesome. We've actually had a good experience with cat balls just like this.
I love cat balls.
We did an investigation at an 1800s church here in Bradenton, and the cat balls just went crazy. Not as bad as this. Now, with the people being feeble-minded, mentally challenged and everything, do you think they're more attracted to REM pods and cat balls and like lights, other than just setting a little voice recorder there? Like, which one do you get more attention with?
I again, I agree with you. I get a lot of attention with the things that light up,
Right.
and I don't think it's just because, excuse me, because it's they have mental challenges. I think you got to think at the time too. They didn't have too many electronic devices that like lit up and you could communicate with. That wasn't something people were familiar with, so it's something new.
Yeah, I didn't even think
easier.
about that.
It's also a lot easier to just touch something rather than trying to speak.
Right. So we have one more video, and then we'll ask you a couple more questions.
Thank you. If anyone heard me talking about it earlier, this is the kind of role I love getting those on. Thank you. Like all the different colors. Do you want to try the one with the green light? Like, that's usually how it goes.
Well, that was when we were in the basement that one week. The red one I had was lighting up, and then it was like all of a sudden they found the one like yours, and then that was all she wrote. It was sparklier, and it was prettier, and I don't blame them one bit. Well, thank you.
The girls that we have down there would be so upset right now. Are you serious? Can you try to roll that to one of us?
Well, you are just having lots of fun, aren't you?
Now, so do you guys use a lot of cat balls in different areas and film them, or? I know
Yeah, we do. You can get little stands for them. I prefer to use the stands. That way you're not kicking them or rolling them around.
Right.
Less chance for someone to, them to roll over and set itself off.
Right. Now, do you guys? I love these. I have two of them actually. Do you guys set up laser grids down the hallways, or?
Yes, we do. We've had those. It's harder for me to see that the grid than it is like using the ball, of course.
Right. Now, I know from just talking to people, and it's notorious in Pennhurst. Have you ever heard whistling?
Yes.
Now, is that in every building that you've been in? Like, that's
primarily the tunnels.
Okay.
The tunnels and the hallways.
Okay. Now, is it just like I can't whistle, but yeah, is it just
Yeah,
out of
like
the
just like
blue?
someone was like the maintenance guy whistling while he works. No, no pun intended.
Yeah,
Like,
that's
That's a whaler.
right. So we have a question of the week. Everybody in the comments and everybody who's watching, you're more than welcome to ask or answer in the comments. And once the video's done, I like to get to have you answer too. So everybody in the comments, what state is Pennhurst State School in?
I wonder.
We've talked about it a couple times to see if you guys are paying attention. Where is Pennhurst State School, Candace?
Hawaii. No, I'm joking. It's in Pennsylvania.
Oh, that's far, far, far away from.
I was just saying where I wanted it to be.
Yeah, right. But
it'd be nice if it was in Florida.
yeah, that'd be great. So there was one more question that I wanted to ask earlier. How exactly did you start getting into paranormal and being an investigator?
It started with having my own experiences kind of as a kid, and you know, you kind of always curious what happens when you die, you know, like what is the next step.
Right.
So getting into it was just kind of a way of answering those questions for myself, like kind of affirmation, I guess, if you will, that something is after.
Right. So down on the screen, we're scrolling through right now. This is their name of their team. Keep It Real, Pennsylvania. Or keep,
you can find them on YouTube
Pennsylvania.
and I believe Facebook, correct?
Yes.
So you guys have a Facebook group, correct? And you guys have a YouTube. I wasn't able to find the YouTube, unfortunately. I put it in the little comments, but I couldn't find it. Sorry.
I'll figure that out. I'm still new to all that.
Oh, it's okay. It's all right. It takes a lot of work. So in the corner here, if you guys want to find any of our information, YouTube, Instagram, my
Facebook,
email,
YouTube,
Facebook,
Instagram.
Scan this QR code. Anybody that's watching this live or watching this on YouTube, like, subscribe, leave comments. We love talking to our fans. Watch past interviews. You never know what's going to come up on the next interview.
We're still trying to get more people over on for YouTube, so we'd love for people to go over and hit that like and subscribe.
Definitely check out Keeping It Real on Facebook and YouTube. So we have a convention coming here in October 28th. I don't know. I know when I was explaining this to Candace, even she was intrigued and wanted to come.
Yeah.
So
Come
maybe.
join us at the Para Unity.
I definitely am looking into coming to that. That excited me.
Yeah.
Do you guys have any upcoming investigations? I know you said when we last spoke you're actually doing private investigations with the police. What kind of stuff are you going to help them with?
Oh, I usually go with the certain police departments here in Texas, and I run my spirit box. The last one we got was we helped locate an individual that had been deceased for about a year. Wow. So basically just working with cold case files. Really exciting work with that. So
Ghost whisperer.
no, I'm not sensitive or psychic at all. I've been doing it for so long.
Now, how did you get into that? That's a really cool topic. Did the police contact you or?
Well, I was working with a medium out of San Antonio, and they contacted him. And while he does his medium stuff, I run my equipment. Right. I've gotten some really good evidence. Like I was in a police impound locker where they had all the vehicles from crime scene. and I caught on my thermal imager a heat signature in one of the seats where the victim died in. You
Wow.
could see them, and you could see where I caught it. Like, I paid attention to it in the camera because I could see it. And I walked up to the car, and you could see him sit back and disappear.
Your voice is cutting in and out.
Oh, sorry.
You're
Is that
good.
better?
Yes.
All right. But yeah, as soon as you walk up to the car, you can see the heat signature of the guy sitting there, and then he just vanishes right on camera. I have that.
Wow.
So maybe sometime I could send it to y'all. That's probably one of my most exciting pieces of evidence. So
Absolutely. Which, good news, now that you say that, we will have you back here in a couple weeks.
Yep.
It's not going to be just about Pennhurst. We're
Yeah.
going to be about everything.
So we can get more into all of that in a couple weeks. But we have a convention coming up for the banner.
We're excited for it. That's one of the main reasons why we got this.
We love it. We got it today, so
What's really funny-
I'm Googling over it still.
What's kind of funny is this one was lost in the mail, so we ended up canceling the order and getting a refund and ordering another one that's on its way.
So now we're going to have two.
Yeah.
Which, you never know.
You're going to see
We're
one
going to
of
have
these.
two. We might give one away. Never know.
Yeah,
Hit us up in the comments. Hit us up on YouTube. Hit us up on Facebook. Hit up Kandise on their
Keeping it real
paranormal. So we have a convention October 28th, Ghoulfest Para-Unity Convention. It's at Gilchrist County Jail in Trenton, Florida. It's a free show. It's a free convention. It's got a guest speaker. It's got a band. It's just a really good time. I was there. Your mic's off.
You got muted.
Yeah, my dogs were barking. I didn't think y'all wanted to hear that.
Well, yeah, appreciate it. So we have a little video that we want to play for you, and then we'll let you promote anything that you need to promote, or here's the video. So how intriguing.
I'm excited for the spooky pups.
Expect me to come from Texas. I just got goosebumps. So I want to do it again. I definitely want to do it.
I'm sure Henry
So-
would love to see you there.
We have a couple things that we're not allowed to say here online yet. We will talk one-on-one on that situation. But do you have any upcoming events or investigations that you want to promote, or?
The only thing I have coming up, I run a junior ghost hunt program. So if you're in the Texas area and you have a 13 and above teenager, or even if you want to tag along, I never kick parents out, but it's a 3-week class. I teach them how to ghost hunt properly, how to do it safely. Basically teach them it's not like the TV shows. They all get K2 meters for free. I have guest speakers and stuff like that. It's really fun. So if you're in the New Braunfels area in Texas and want to send your kiddos up, hit me up. So if you're in Gettysburg, hit up Rick Shurock at the Fonsworth House. Really good guy, really knowledgeable. But since this is the Pennhurst episode, I'm going to plug my girl Rachel Moser at Pennhurst.
Right.
Like I said, she knows details about that building that, I mean, she's probably going to yell at me being like, you got it wrong here. It was this.
Tell her to leave it in the comments.
Tell her to come
Yeah.
join us next time.
But I want to greatly appreciate you coming to speak with us
Thank you so
about
much for your
such a
time.
historic place.
Yeah, thank you for inviting me.
No problem. So we will see you in a couple weeks.
Alrighty, y'all take care.
Awesome. Have a
We'll
great
see
night,
you on
Kansas.
here next time.
All right, bye.
Bye-bye.
You guys,
What did you guys think about our special?
I think that was pretty heartbreaking.
It was. Leave it in the comments what you guys thought about Pennhurst. And if you guys want to do your own research, go on YouTube. There's a 4-part special. It's called Suffer the Little Children. And honestly, viewers' discretion advised. It's heartbreaking.
It's hard to watch.
It's very hard. Me and Sarah watched it today, and it's very, very hard to watch.
It is.
But with that said, thank you
guys
for coming.
Go like, follow, subscribe, hit that little notification bell. Trying to get more people over on YouTube, so go ahead and check that out if you aren't already.
Remember, always stay creepy, friends.
I love you.
See you guys.
Have a good night.